y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much. Oh, I forgot. I wasn't supposed to go right into the microphone. Hey, y'all, how are you doing? I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. It's me, Kim, and I am back for another live stream. Man, we did so good on that last one, being right on time. And of course, I was late again. I was just trying to take care of things behind the scenes. As I mentioned, well, I've mentioned before, I'm just being really productive. Like 2024 has started off in a really incredible fashion. I feel so focused. I feel energized. I feel good about myself. Katt Williams said, live every day so that when you go to sleep at night, you can feel good because you were a winner and you gave it your all. And I've just been really doing that and hitting it. And I am wearing the same thing that I wore last time, but I also mentioned last time I'm going to start just going to having uniforms. Like there's just going to be set things that I wear because I don't care to spend the mental energy picking out what I wear on camera, okay? Okay, we're going Steve Jobs on these hoes, okay? And also I've mentioned off the cuff my new productivity system, which is there's numbers on there. I checked bank accounts and brokerage accounts today, so let's not have the numbers on there. And speaking of checking the brokerage accounts today, shout out to the Bitcoin people. I did not believe it, did not fuck with it at all. Thought all of y'all were stupid. Been going back and forth for months with my boyfriend, for months, because he's one of those Bitcoin people. And this is off topic, but I like to go through whatever's in my head. And we went to Cabo for his birthday, and he was wearing like a Bitcoin shirt, and somebody at the pool was like, "Yeah, Bitcoin." And we're like, "Okay, do y'all need a minute? Like, what's going on over here?" And so I've been trying to learn more about crypto, so skeptical, still think it is so iffy. But I know that the Bitcoin people really won today with the SEC approval of Bitcoin ETFs. Y'all know I believe in getting your financial lives together. So, y'all do that. But, anyways, made a couple of trades, saw that they approved the Bitcoin stuff, texted him, texted some other Bitcoin people I know. Congrats or whatever, congratulations. Okay, before we really get into it, I have been promoting the Valentine's Day merch, including the apparel. But last year, I also commissioned the creation of a coloring book. It literally came out so freaking good. It honestly came out so freaking good. So that's why I decided to bring it back. It has, black girl pictures in it. Obsessed. So that is now available up on shopknf.com. It will also be linked attached to this video. Yeah, we're just living. Obviously, we are here today to talk about that Katt Williams interview that set the internet streets ablaze. I just checked before I came on this live stream. It has 41 million views in less than 2 weeks. 41 million views. That means more people have watched that interview or engaged with it than watched Succession. You know what I mean? Like, that is incredible. And what do I feel like we can take away from that? Content is always going content, I think that there are people who might question Katt Williams' relevancy, especially if we are only discussing how often he appears in mainstream media. Is he in big budget films? Is he on TV regularly? He doesn't seem to be super active on social media, but he chose the right platform with the right interviewer. Look, I am not a Club Shay Shay watcher. I am not the biggest fan of Shannon Sharp, but The thing about Shannon Sharpe's interview style is it gave Katt Williams enough space to be Katt, you know? And so if Shannon Sharpe were a different kind of interviewer, let me switch to so that I can see what the comments are. If Shannon Sharpe were a honestly more adept interviewer, right? Like if he had interjected more or asked lots of follow-ups, it would not have provided Katt enough space to just go off. And what's really remarkable about watching that interview is how long the stretches of Katt Williams just talking are. Like, there's many, many minutes of him just telling a story and then being like, right, Shannon? And Shannon going, oh, Katt, oh, you gonna get me canceled, Katt. And then Katt just like keep going. He absolutely optimized the space. I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw that he is coming to Dallas in March, and it said second show added. And I'm like, of course a second show is added. This man is the hottest name in comedy right now. So bang up job for everybody involved. What I will say about this is Media Kim. Y'all are getting Media Kim. Also, because undoubtedly this is going to be taken down for copyright, because I'm going to be using some copyrighted clips. Y'all are going to see this live, and then as soon as they demonetize it, it's going behind the paywall. Sorry. Okay. So, what I will give Shannon Sharpe is, and what he absolutely deserves credit for, is the incredible production of Club Shay Shay. The set looks gorgeous. The way that he matched or coordinated his wardrobe, that tight ass sweatsuit, but it was tan, and it matched the neutrals, the earth tones of the background. It was so visually appealing. The way that the camera moved, and of course there's a multi-camera setup there. This is like nerd content creator nerd shit, right? But I'm really trying to like step my cookies up this year, so I'm really paying attention to it. The way that the camera moved, right? So not only are there like static shots, but there are moving shots, right? Like that, it's so high quality, high production value, beautiful. Katt showed up. Katt showed up for work, as Carlos King would say. He showed up for work. He showed up to play. Shannon Sharpe played his role, whatever that is. Everybody who was involved in the production did what needed to be done. And that results in a super viral moment, a moment where not just the people who were mentioned feel the need to comment on it, but anybody who's even tangentially related to comedy. What was it? Mike Epps talking about, oh, I just felt bad because he didn't mention me, and I wanted to be in the mix, and Bruce commenting on it, and Deion Cole commenting on it, and just all of these people, and Katt is the prom queen. He literally utilized that space as the precursor or a companion piece to a stand-up special. And if you are that great of a storyteller, and if you are that charismatic and interesting and willing to lie strategically. Look, I saw somebody on Twitter say the best thing about Katt Williams is he told the truth about the stuff people care about and lied about the stuff nobody cares about. I don't care about how many books he read when he was a kid. I don't care if he got accepted to college when he was 7. No, that's not interesting to me. Okay, but tell me what happened with Ricky Smiley. What happened with Steve Harvey? The light-skinned, weird-faced wife stuff went viral. That's good. That to me is the most compelling parts Okay. One, I'm just trying to oh my gosh, I'm just trying to log in. Okay. How are y'all doing? Yeah, light-skinned, weird-faced wife. Yeah. He said he read 3,000 in a year as a kid. Right. That's, even as a voracious reader, that's not a thing, but who cares? And I actually love that for him. He deserves that, honestly. He's one of the greatest that ever did it, for sure. And I will say that as great as I think Cat Williams is, and I think that he deserves the accolades, there are also parts of that interview that deserve some scrutiny and interrogation. I would say Cat Williams is a benevolent misogynist, and that makes sense to me if he says that he was so close to Prince before Prince passed away. Because Prince was also a notorious benevolent misogynist, right? Like, liked women, liked to be around them, mentored women, worked with lots of women, but also, uh, a boomer religious black man, like, yeah, like, look, we all contain multitudes, right? And the other thing, it's also similar to Prince, some of that homophobia stuff, some of that transphobia stuff. And there's probably something to say about men whose masculinity is consistently challenged, particularly because of their stature and the way that they feel the need to have real strict like sexual dimorphism, right? Men are this, women are this. Don't compare me to a woman. I don't do woman shit. I'm not gay. That kind of stuff. Okay, without further ado, let's go first to Charlamagne the God commenting on Cat Williams. Yeah, let's go to Charlamagne.
Industry, when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to calling out a system, when are y'all gonna start calling out the people who really control things?
Amen.
When are y'all gonna start when y'all gonna start calling out folks with the real power? Because contrary to the nigga net's popular belief, the real power isn't coming from any of those Negroes Katt was talking about. So when are folks gonna start calling out the white people who are in these positions of power, these real positions of power? I don't believe in any of that industry plant stuff, but if there are industry plants, how come we always go after the plant and not the planters? If folks is out here putting black people in dresses or making folks do sexual favors in return for roles or whatever, why are we not calling those executives out? The people who finance the projects, the studio heads, the people who finance these scripts. How come we not calling them out? Because I know they not black. And for some reason, it's just very easy for us to always go at each other. But to me, that's a form of victim blaming. Call out the people with the real power. I know he called out Harvey Weinstein, but Harvey's in prison. You know what I mean? But there's still a whole system out here and a whole bunch of executives who still moving foul, and they not black. When they gonna start getting called out? Because once again, not one of those Negroes Katt was talking about got any real power.
Yeah, he also calls out so many different people, Jonathan Majors, Diddy, and Ye. But also, after the end of it, people were giving Shannon Sharp a little flack, so he said that...
DJ Envy is stupid, and I don't listen to him. But, it's funny. It's funny because that sounds like something an industry plant would say. That sounds like something a gatekeeper would say. What are you talking about? If we are talking about Diddy, a billionaire on paper, right? We're talking about Steve Harvey, who has hundreds of millions of dollars. We're talking about people who at least have tens of millions of dollars, who have the ability to serve as gatekeepers. They have the ability to serve as the people who create the first barriers to other people getting on. Obviously, we should always have, if we are critiquing systems of power, we should be able to critique it at every level. And just because there is a bigger boss does not mean that you, as the underling doing the work for the bigger boss, don't deserve any kind of scrutiny or pushback. Again, the only reason why somebody would say, no, don't critique the person with $200 million, critique this other person, is if you want to. Baby, I've been saying this. Bro, go back. Go back to my Billionaires Don't Need Your Protection video on this channel. People will do so much to run interference for people who have enormous wealth and power, celebrities who decide to become the faces of these huge systems. You chose that because you want to be the face. I'm not surprised that Charlamagne would be like, well, don't critique them, critique the white man because he want to be the white man. And that's why we will continue to critique you. Because we see it. It's transparent. The desire for the acquisition of power is naked. It is so clear, crystal, transparent. We get it. You're going to get that shit. You're going to get the smoke too. For sure. And yes, thank you. Hit that like button. Someone said years ago that Charlamagne should not be the voice he is in the community. Might have been you, yet he persists. It's me. I know I've seen Julesy say this. I've seen so many other content creators say this. Charlamagne is not smart, thoughtful, well-read, intellectually astute enough to be a political commentator. Anybody can give their opinions on anything, but there is something that is, I think, particularly problematic and that reflects really poorly on, honestly, how the white gatekeepers view Black people, that Charlamagne would be elevated to ever think of himself as some kind of trusted voice on politics in Black America. Because the other thing about the Breakfast Club is they be letting all kinds of scammers on there. Baby, if you do not have the wherewithal, the thoughtfulness, the intellectual acuity to make sure scammers don't show up on your platform regularly, you cannot be a voice for Black America. If the feds are raiding your office because you got roped in with the scammer to defraud regular people in some weird real estate Ponzi scheme, you cannot be the voice of Black America. You cannot. No. So that is that. Yeah. Yes, you've made your life. Charlamagne falling into the whataboutism tells me he has nothing intellectual to say on any subject, right? Free Palestine, free Sudan, free Congo. Agreed. Charlamagne is dumb. The end. It matters who is accepting these shady deals. They are not victims. They made choices filed by greed. Katt choose to create his own lane and make money. Now, I will say, I do not think Charlamagne is dumb. I think that there is a difference between being dumb and not having the range to dip your toe into every conversation, particularly the dense public policy conversations. It feels to me, and I don't know him, I don't know him, I don't know him, but I say all the time that I would not be able to do this job over here or at For Harriet if I was not deeply committed to study. I literally have time blocked off every single day. Wait, where's my Oh my gosh, this is so funny, right? So I am using this new productivity system, right? Where the different parts of not the numbers on there again. Don't zoom in. Don't zoom in. Because I just transferred some money. Okay. So, anyways, every single part of my life is a different color, right? And education, which is the time that I block off every single day to learn things, is orange. And so today, actually, I've been doing a lot of study, right? So we see the notes here. We see the orange in the notes, right? We see the orange in the notes, okay? It is my responsibility as a person who shows up in public and talks about all kinds of things to be knowledgeable. I chose this job, and a part of me doing this job is being smart and thoughtful and well-read. I do get annoyed when people who choose this job do not take on that responsibility. So I do think that that deserves some interrogation. Absolutely. But, okay. I think that, the way that he has maneuvered his career in other ways, not dumb, really smart. It's got him to where he is. It's just some of that stuff is just ridiculous. Yeah. Wendy Williams put him on. Yeah. Mark Lamont knows what he is talking about when it comes to Palestine and geopolitics. And that is something that I appreciate about Mark Lamont Hill is obviously a teacher and has a doctorate, so had to do some kind of formal study, but also can go back and forth between really serious conversations that you have to be well read on to comment thoughtfully. And, the light, fun, frivolous, because we contain multitudes, but, be serious. Okay. The next thing that I thought was, well, I mean, since we just talked about it, we got to go to the wives with the light skin and the weird faces. Hey.
If you sign up for their program, you get a light-skinned, weird-faced wife that never do an interview.
Oh, man.
Like, he's just violating, bro. Like, he's going crazy.
Won't do an interview. Nobody's ever talked to her, and that she's never been interviewed anywhere. And now, understand, I'm not talking about one person. What I just told you applies to 7 people. How they all end up with that. That's part of what you get. Now, one person ended up with a light-skinned, ugly-faced wife that's never done a... Remember I told you that if I say that...
I don't like talking about people, man. I don't like talking about people. I don't like talking about people.
Okay. So that was
the
That was that on that. Not to go into Scandival, girl. Okay. So I'm of two minds, but I'm primarily for this, okay? So on one hand, of course, we have to critique a little bit of the misogyny of, reducing the women, to the appearances. I get it. I get it. I get it. But also, I'm mostly, most of my mind is that these women who partner with these men, right, are exchanging what they understand to be their desirability and, an anti-Black world, okay, for partnership with these really rich, famous men, powerful men. And the men who are hyper visible and have money, power, influence are trading that money, power, influence for the being visible, being aligned with women who are Black or kind of Black, or what is Ludacris's wife? Like, what? I'm not even sure. What is her? I'm not sure. Black adjacent, right? But are still propped up as sitting atop the hierarchy of desirability, certainly within the Black community, but seen in mainstream as more desirable than like a regular Blackity Black woman. Okay. And I am, a regular Blackity Black woman. 2 Black parents, 4 Black grandparents. Negroes. Okay. The reason why that struck such a chord is because we are not used to seeing straight Black men critique the system of desirability in that way. We don't see it. Well, wait. John Boyega kind of did it, right? He kind of did it a couple years ago where he said he loves, Black women. Okay. But it's just not the norm. It's not the norm for somebody who has as much power, money, influence, as big a platform as Katt Williams, especially at his age, for somebody to say, hey, look at that shit. We see what's going on. I saw Brittany Luce on Twitter say, has there ever been a more elegant way to call somebody color struck? Certainly. And it is interesting that those women don't talk. That is interesting. It's like, that's kind of a part of the deal. And maybe that's also why I like a Savannah James so much, because she does not represent that kind of archetype, even though she is gorgeous and dresses her motherfucking ass off. But you'll notice that the other thing about Savannah James is she doesn't talk either. And that's why men like her. In that little critique of the light-skinned, weird-faced wife phenomenon, the 50, 60, 70-year phenomenon of the light-skinned, weird-faced wife, there is also something Katt is offering there about how these men use their light-skinned, weird-faced wives as props. That their desirability is not just that they have a certain kind of phenotype. The desirability is they don't say shit, They don't. You can't separate the light-skinned, weird-faced wives from their not me doing serious analysis of this, but this is real, right? You can't separate the light-skinned, weird-faced wives. I can't start cracking up again, from their partners, because they don't have an identity separate from the partners. And when they do decide to venture out and do something else, they get maligned. See Aisha Curry. Are y'all considering Jada Pinkett Smith to be light-skinned? I'm not sure where y'all draw the boundaries anymore. Back in my day, she would have been light-skinned. I'm not sure what y'all say, but we can add Jada in there too. If you have your own thoughts, desire autonomy, desire your own identity, if you want to create any kind of boundary, and you happen, well, first of all, Jada Pinkett Smith is gorgeous, so I'm not calling her weird-faced at all. But if you are light-skinned, weird-faced, and you desire any kind of separation, people are gonna be like, shut the fuck up. And Lori Harvey is not weird-faced at all. She's stunningly gorgeous, but as soon as she started talking, people were like, shut the fuck up. Okay, and by the way, I see y'all. I knew y'all were gonna start arguing about Jada. I knew it. Okay, I did not mean to set off the is Jada Pinkett Smith light skin debate. Unless the light skinned woman is successful on her own, like Beyonce or Alicia Keys. Okay, brown skin. It's so good from a media standpoint. As messy as it is, it's catchy. Light skin, weird faced, wife rolls off the tongue, and it's so funny. It's mean, but it's too funny. I do feel bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. I do feel bad repeating it, but it's like I have a compulsion to repeat it. And honestly, if we are talking about like the art of rhetoric, which is also something I've loved since I was a little kid, being able, like Maya said, to coin those little phrases that are fun to say, but also capture a real sociological phenomenon, that is not easy. People are going to be saying light-skinned, weird-faced wife for years to come. And a part of me does feel bad for those women because, baby, those Instagram comments, oh, turn the comments off. Oh my God. Turn the tags off on Instagram. Turn the comments off because those women are going to be getting it for a long time. But I think as a Black woman with 4 grandparents, it is nice to see a Black man not participate in the gaslighting. Because often when Black women have those conversations like, hey, look at what's happening. This is not a coincidence. What's going on here? The men are like, oh no, that's just who they be around. Oh no, what are y'all? And it's like, no, it's not. It doesn't just accidentally happen. As I say all the time, who we choose to partner says a lot about who we believe ourselves to be and what we feel our place is in the world. Look, love is love, okay? Choose whoever you want to be with, but partnership is a political choice. It says things. And shout out to Katt for, yeah. The old folks used to call that yellow-waisted. Also a very problematic phrase. Oh my God. This is really a mess. And I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I do feel conflicted about going down this rabbit hole because it just, look, the line between critiquing desirability and then jumping into the misogyny pool, it is so thin. It's so razor thin. So like, let's try to critique the hierarchy of desirability and the way that Black men gaslight us about it and the consequences of that. But let's not jump into the misogyny pool, okay? That's all I'm asking. Okay. This same exact thing happened when people started to point out the patterns with Black gay men being partnered with white folks. It started with calling out of Drag Race. Yeah. Yeah. I disagree with it having anything to do with who we see ourselves as much as how we see those who we partner. Oh, no. I think that for most people have options. They might not be the romantic options that you want, okay? But most people have options, okay? And whether or not you choose to engage with one of those options reflects who you think you are. So if I were to give up whatever and say, "Oh, this beautiful this gorgeous high-rise apartment isn't keeping me warm at night. Let me just scroll through my Instagram DMs and pick somebody." And it's somebody who does not politically align with me. It's somebody who I don't feel is attractive. It's somebody who is embarrassing in public. My decision to be like, "Oh, well, I just got to choose somebody," would be a reflection on how I feel about myself. Am I comfortable enough being single that I would choose to partner somebody who represents things that I vehemently disagree with, is not cute, and is weird? Do I think so little of myself that I feel like I can't do better than that? And maybe we shouldn't say better. We should say, do I think so little of myself that I don't believe that I can find somebody who checks off every single one of my boxes? Now, as y'all have seen me over the years say over and over again, I always knew I was going to find somebody who matched. Always knew, never doubted it, never questioned it. Came on here summer of 2022 and said, I'm gonna find my person. I'm gonna find him. And then I did. Held out. Lord help me to hold out. Okay? Because I just was like, I'm me. Not to be too, but I know who I am. Okay. And I knew I was gonna find somebody who wouldn't embarrass me in public. Like, okay. I'm me. A regular Black woman, but I'm still me. Shout out to Beyonce. Okay. So, but also, right, if you feel like in order to exist in a certain arena, you need a partner who gives you certain kind of access, you need a partner who's going to open certain kinds of doors, then you're going to seek out partner, right? It's the whole thing. Okay. I quote Kim all the time. Don't you ever in your motherfucking life embarrass me in public. I've never had to worry about my partner embarrassing me. Thank God. Okay. Next, let us go to something that I do believe and I think is important. Katt Williams shared his thoughts on comedians getting just a little bit too big for their britches.
Have you ever been booed, Katt?
Yes. Yeah. I have.
What was that feeling like? Did it like want to give up? Because because when you have, I don't know how early it was in your career. Obviously, it hadn't been I don't think it's in the last decade because you've been immaculate.
Have you ever dropped a pass?
I have. I've been booed too.
You know the little segment between everything is fine and I got it, and then you noticing where it is now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that. The thing about as a comedian, the audience's opinion is the only opinion that matters, not you, the writer, not none of that. And so I don't think any comedian has ever been booed unnecessarily either.
They deserve it.
Oh yeah. I'm saying, what do they say when a guy shoots the air ball in the NBA? They say air ball to make sure everybody knows. But again, he still got to get back on D.
Right.
Like the game didn't end. He don't get to throw his hands up and sulk.
Right.
That's supposed to be used as a learning experience. Most comedians don't get booed enough. I mean, this is how you end up with a Michael Blackson who's a real African doing a fake African accent. Okay, this guy is mad at me. All I did was give him the best advice of his life. Remember, he was wearing dirty dashikis. And I told him he needed to dress to be in the position that he's trying to say that he's in. And if you're the African king of comedy, sir, there's actually comedians in Africa doing comedy. If you're going to say that, you got to go to Africa and get a school, dude. Everybody you got to put in some work. And these guys, they take my advice. They change their whole persona. And then they hate me for it. And generally, I'm just too big to comment or make a statement about it or do a live or any of that. But when it gets to be a whole grouping of these guys, I got to come and talk to Shannon.
I just think this is so freaking good. When Katt was talking about it takes so much work and self-awareness to have confidence and not be delusional, I really felt that. You know, I've been talking about how one of my aims this year is to get better at this, is to improve the live streams, even though I keep yelling into the microphone when I said I wasn't going to do that anymore. It's to improve the live streams. It's to make this better, the aesthetic better. It's to read more. It's to just optimize my potential, right? I think I'm good at this, but I can always be better. And I think that delusion prevents you from challenging yourself, right? Like, I know what my strengths are, but I also know I'm nowhere near as good at this as I could be, that my channels, my digital presence is nowhere near where it could be. Of course, I'm always bringing it back to me, right? And so I think what we often see, particularly in a culture of hyper and potentially toxic masculinity, is maybe these people just getting a little lazy, And, I'm talking about a culture of hyper and potentially toxic masculinity. And I'm talking about men here, but there are also female artists that we could talk about, but we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. I don't have time to be getting freaking, what is it called? Swatted by the barbs. I don't have time to do that. But I think it is really important for people to be honest about the ways that they can grow and stretch themselves. And I adored that. Okay. I saw somebody mention Erica Campbell and the conversation. Somebody mentioned in the chat, Erica Campbell, in the conversation that she had years ago with her daughter about colorism, and I thought that that would be a good follow-up. So, let's watch this.
Was bothering Krista about school more than she was letting on. I don't want to put her on the spot with the whole family. That probably would make her uncomfortable, and I don't want that. All right, is there an issue?
Not an issue. It's more like just something that I kind of noticed. If you look at all my friends, church and school, I'm a chubby friend. And it's not like, oh God, I just have accepted it, you know?
You're not the fat friend, Chris.
I noticed that I'm left out. You know, and other guys and talk to them, I'm left out, I'm left to the side. And I think that's why.
Guys talk to you.
It's different. It is.
And do you think it has something to do with your size?
Absolutely, I know it is. I'm not saying that no guys want chubby girls. I'm just saying that that's personally me.
But I don't think that's the case. I think that's the way you're saying it.
Because it's not that I'm ugly or am I ugly?
No. Why would she ask me that? Why would she ask me, am I ugly? I'm your mama. I only see beauty in your eyes.
My size of
No, baby. You're gorgeous. And you know, look at this face. This is my face. It's brown. It's a combination.
That's something too. A lot of the guys like light-skinned girls.
Like what?
A lot of the guys like light-skinned girls. Look at our family. Look at our family. You and Dad, light-skinned, dark-skinned. Auntie and Uncle Ted, light-skinned, dark-skinned. Auntie and Uncle Des, light-skinned, dark-skinned. The only two dark-skinned families is Auntie Lisa, Uncle Errol, and Nana and Grandpa.
That's still two. It's not. Look at all these beautiful brown women in the world. Look at Gabrielle Union. She's brown,
wait,
gorgeous, amazing husband. Look at Kelly Rowland, beautiful. Like, these are beautiful brown women everywhere.
I know, but Mom, think about
all around you.
You're light-skinned, so you don't really know exactly how it feels, you know?
All these things that you want to have answers to, sometimes I don't. And right now I don't. What to do, what to tell her, how to lift her, how to make her smile, how to tell her not to worry. I gotta figure it out.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that is interesting to me because I don't doubt that Erica meant well in that exchange. I think she wasn't prepared to have the conversation. And because she wasn't prepared to have an honest conversation, she was low-key gaslighting her daughter into questioning what her daughter at that point knew to be true. When we say that partnership is political and has consequences far beyond the two of you, it's what everybody around you can see and what they internalize from what they can see. Ooh, you know, a part of me thinks, I just have so many thoughts that I just cannot keep inside. But I will say that for a long time, a part of me has thought that, and I don't know these people, this is pure speculation, that one of the reasons why Jay-Z has spent all of these years growing out his hair is to provide a tangible, like, visage, not just for us, you know, because I know that he says publicly, I'm a billionaire, I can do whatever I want. This is an exercise of my individual autonomy and personal authority. But also, I'm sure that it's useful in his home, right? Like, if Beyonce, whom, you know, we love and adore, you have to always say, we love Beyonce, she looks great. Okay, gorgeous woman. But if Beyonce is spending so much time embodying a certain kind of aesthetic, maybe to balance that out, it's useful to have somebody else in the home embodying a different kind of aesthetic. I think that is a really useful kind of balance. And I think that parents should be really conscientious of what's happening in the home. We're not going to go to the Jay-Z is wearing a wig. We're not going to do that today, you guys. No. Okay. Let us move on to Katt Williams' feelings on Ricky Smiley.
was Katt Williams, and don't nobody know who he is. I'm on the radio. I'm with Steve and Said. Everybody know me. That's what he told everybody that would listen to on the set. That's the truth of the matter. He was so egregious, not now, then. He was so egregious that, and Hollywood has never heard this in 100 years. He was so egregious, I put in my contract that I won't work with Ricky Smiley again unless he's in a dress. Now, what was Ricky Smiley's next movie? Was it First Sunday? Did he wear a dress in it? You bet he did. It's in my contract.
Why would you put that in your contract, Katt?
That's where he's a believable actor. Him and Tyler Perry can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role.
So that's why
everybody was Katt.
Okay, so that was a mixture of truth-telling and problematic, okay? Problematic, right? Because is it true? Okay. I'm problematic too, okay? So is it true? Okay, wait. How do I want to say this? Okay. Is it true that both Ricky Smiley and Tyler Perry are the most compelling? Oh, fuck. Anyways, that y'all talk about it amongst yourselves. I can't. But there is something inherently in there about being a woman, being able to portray a man is harder than being able to portray a woman, and that they should be ashamed of that, and that putting on a dress devalues them. That's the problematic part. Whether or not those two particular men have ever done a great job of portraying Bro, I can't. I don't know. Y'all talk about it. Okay. So next, he also had a lot to say on Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer. Oh, it's not playing?
Mark Curry had. Now Steve got a sitcom where he the principal and he wear a suit and then he gets this high top fade, making all black men think he got the best lineup in the business, and it's a man unit. Then you ask him, why you not a movie star? I didn't want to be a movie star. This the same Negro that hated on Bernie with this same thing. I didn't want to be a movie star. No, you couldn't be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good over KB and look like Mr. Potato Head. There ain't none. You would have to have a range. I played a lot of characters, 60 movie roles. I'm not playing Katt Williams in there.
I don't know, Katt. We might not let you drink anymore the way I mean, we ain't even got.
I'm not fueled by alcohol. I've had a sip, less than you. The truth don't need motivation. I'm just saying I can't let these dudes lie. Cedric's sitting here telling you why he ain't a movie star. He over here look like a walrus. You didn't say nothing. He can't even get his arms off his stomach sitting over here. Why I'm not a movie star. What?
It's a situation.
He never wrote anything. Remember, when Cedric the Entertainer starts, he's supposed to be singing, dancing, and telling jokes. That's why he's called the Entertainer.
Right.
We found out he can't sing, can't dance, and doesn't write jokes. He did 4 comedy specials. They're so bad, Shannon, they're not available on Netflix or Tubi. Can I say that again for the audience? They're so bad that they're not available on Netflix or Tubi.
You don't think Sam's a good comedian?
The world doesn't think that, sir. I have 12 comedy specials. He has 4 specials that...
Okay. The dress is used as a form of emasculation and effeminizing men. The biggest threat to white supremacy are strong black men. I think you might be in the wrong place. I think you might be in the wrong place. You know, I have the chat set to only people who are subscribers can comment, but I'm going to say no. I think that okay, you guys, we have to have a conversation about the dress stuff. And in fact, before we do that, let's let's actually, because I think is funny about this whole thing, what I find to be really funny about all of this conversation about the men in dresses and whatever, is that the conversation is primarily centered on how Hollywood wants to emasculate or effeminize Black men by putting them in dresses. But we never discuss how these Black men gleefully sign up to portray Black women in the most disgusting, most stereotypical, most misogynoirist, which is in a way that encapsulates the worst, most virulent forms of racialized misogyny. How that shit has consequences for Black women. It's always about the men who chose to do it, who got paid a lot of money to do it, how they are the ones who are harmed. No. I don't care about that conversation. I'm going to be honest with you. And I also don't care about that conversation because from the beginning of what we would understand as to be like modern theater, men played women, right? Like the 3-act structure that is in almost every movie today is based on what first began like in theater in antiquity, but also there's lots of conventions of the old school, the foundational theatrical productions of Europe. And one of those things is men portraying women. Thousands of years ago in Europe. I don't think that says anything horrible or outrageous about Black men. I think what it actually says, to be honest, is Miss Indris Kim is here. The fragile masculinity of Black men. Is your masculinity harmed? Not even most of the Black men that we see on television and film portray women. Not even most, not half, not a third, not a quarter. At this point, it is really freaking rare. So now y'all are bringing up Shanae from 35 years ago. Look at how they're attacking Black men. What? What? I was in elementary school. What are y'all talking about? Look at what they're doing to the Black men. Like, what are y'all saying? But we gonna keep circulating. We gonna keep circulating Shanae. Y'all gonna keep circulating Holiday Heart. Y'all gonna keep, look at the attacks on Black. Like, what? It's 2024, y'all. Like, what? You've got to get some self-esteem. You've got to. Okay. Let's look at the comments. Right. Examples from the 80s and 90s. Even in Japan, after the geishas were pushed out of theater, men played female roles. Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, Dustin Hoffman, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Patrick Swayze, Channing Tatum, Tom Holland. And truly, as I will say over and over again, I also think that, like, one, I think it's useful to think about how so many times the most absurd portrayals of Black women by Black men are in vehicles that Black men star in, you know, where they accrue most of the rewards for participating in those really absurd and stereotypical portrayals. One, but they do get to choose it. I want to say that. But also, that's not, I think we have to choose, right? Like, I think that, is it that the primary portrayal of Black men is that y'all are hyper masculine, ultra aggressive, or are y'all being egregiously harmed by Martin Lawrence being Shanae in 1994? Like, I don't know. It's not a real thing to me. Where's my lip gloss? Okay. But yes, I understand that. Oh, I want to underscore here. I understand that a white man portraying a white woman does not have the same impact as a Black man portraying a Black woman. But I do think that whenever we are having these conversations, nobody ever talks about that history and how widespread that is in all kinds of communities. We talk about it like men dressing up as women was something created specifically for Black people. That's not the truth. What honestly feels more correct for me, Miss Andress Kim coming out. What feels more correct for me is that a lot of these Black male comedians found that doing a nasty portrayal of Black women was a quick and easy way to get a laugh. It was a quick and easy way to get your shit off. And that became a crutch for a certain period of time. That feels more correct to me. But hey, they say I hate Black men. That's what they say. Okay. Let's look at the. To be honest, I feel like a lot of men who don't have the range are involved in this conversation. Maybe it's a weird misogyny hate. Like, they hate women so much that they end up wanting to consume, cannibalize, and then embody the same femininity they're hating and subjugating. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. Oh, I think that is, ooh, y'all are smart. I think that is true. I think that there is something about being able to get your lick back by representing Black women in the absolute worst way, you know, in a really revolting, distasteful way. Yeah. That feels yeah. I A lot of the stereotypes we have about Black women are from Black men in media that built the career off being a stereotype of women for white audiences. I'm not sure if that is the origin. I would say that they certainly have no problem reproducing those images and profiting, sometimes to the tune of $1 billion to those images. Not the misogyny got people inadvertent pawns of white supremacy. You hate to see it for sure. There's truth to that because they always mention they were inspired by a woman. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Ricky Smiley, though, said he was a woman because he had to do what he had to do to feed his family. I don't think he wanted to do it. Some sell out for the money. Okay. But, Ricky Smiley is Black famous. I love this job, you guys. This is fun. Ricky Smiley is Black famous. So he is primarily doing his portrayals of Black women for other Black people's consumption. So it's interesting that we make this about the man wanting to emasculate or effeminize Black men when we see many instances of these Black men. And we can talk about Tyler Perry, who intentionally exists outside of the mainstream studio system, engaging in these portrayals to sell to Black people and getting rich by selling the tickets to Black people and going on tour to play in front of Black people. I mean, there is certainly a commentary about why Black people for so long had no problem consuming these images, propping up these images, distributing these images. This is not just about Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx was Shanae. Who did Martin Lawrence play? Who was Shanae? Jamie Foxx was Shanae. I don't know. Whatever. This is not just about Jamie Foxx or Martin or Ving Rhames or whoever, people who were existing in a studio system. It's ubiquitous. Because the other thing is, oh my goodness, wait a minute. The other thing is, that stuff, it's not just, even in the contemporary age of independent content creation, I think we're out of it now. But even as content creators were saying, I don't want to go to Hollywood to be a star, they still set up the phones and set up the cameras in their homes and put on wigs and dresses to reproduce the most vile and disgusting images and stereotypes of Black women. So what do we say about that era that maybe ended a few years ago of the social media comedians doing that? How do we blame a white supremacist studio system, a white supremacist entertainment industry for all of these, young Black men across the world saying, hey, you know what's gonna go viral? Now, obviously, we are all socialized into white supremacy, But it's deeper and more complex than the white man wants it. It's more complex than white folks made me do it. And like, y'all are not being honest about that. Y'all are not being honest about it. Whew. Yeah. Vine was a boom for portraying Black women like that. Todrick Hall. All right. Let us go to our next clip. And go. Oh, we already did this? Oh, my bad. Okay. We were supposed to talk about Cedric the Entertainer. Okay. Did Katt get his joke stolen by Cedric the Entertainer? Let's look at this. Okay. So we're not going to watch all 4 minutes of him talking about this, but we can watch a little bit.
Asked him, did you steal Katt Williams'
we had drive a spaceship.
joke?
Yeah.
He said, Cedric told you when you asked him, did you steal Katt Williams' joke?
Yeah.
He said, it don't line up. How it don't line up? He thought that I was just a no-name comedian and that he could take this joke, nobody would know.
Right.
The issue was that I had already done this particular joke on BET's Comic View twice.
Right.
It had done so well on BET's Comic View that they had made it part of the commercial. So part of the commercial of make sure you tune in to BET was you seeing me doing this joke. So this is not just a random joke. This is my very best joke, and it's my last joke, and it's my closing joke.
Okay.
1998, I'm doing this joke. It's on Comic View. Cedric comes to the Comedy Store. He watches me in the audience. He comes backstage. He tells me what a great job I did and how much he loves the joke. 2 years later, he's doing that as his last joke on the Kings of Comedy. And he's doing it verbatim. He's just changed my car into a spaceship.
Okay, I gotta be honest with ya. Love you, Katt. Love you so much. Adore you. I'm not sure about this one. We can...
Had your car radio up so loud that you couldn't hear the damn thing when it cut off. It looked like this. You flossing in a 6-shift convertible.
Okay. And now let's go to...
we had drive a space shuttle. We grew up driving long cars. We had drive a space shuttle like it's a 72 deuce and a quarter. Nigga, we get us a cigarette. Nigga, we be in a space shuttle, nigga, like it's a 72 deuce. Nigga, we get us. What's up, nigga? we turn our music down is when we got a parallel park. That's the only time we gotta concentrate, nigga.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is definitely again. I forgot that that's gonna be all right. I look. This is one of those situations where love Katt to death, think he's so great. You know, sometimes it's not about who did it first. Sometimes I do think it's about who did it best. And I was not entertained by whatever Katt was doing there at all whatsoever. I found the Cedric the Entertainer stuff to be way more enjoyable, way more interesting, maybe because he had more space. He could really act it out. Shout out to the theater girlies. Shout out to the pantomime girlies, okay? I just thought I'm on Cedric the Entertainer side. I'm sorry. I am. And you know, also when there's some, you know, fat phobia stuff in there about how Katt was talking about Cedric. Cedric is cute. I don't know what y'all saying, but I'm sharing too much, but I like used to have a crush on Cedric the Entertainer. I always thought he was cute. Shout out to the Kappas. Maybe that's just me. That's just me. I think that's a cute man. I feel like I'll go for Cedric. I mean, never mind. You know. Okay. So y'all can debate in the chat what you think happened there. After that, he also talked about Chris Tucker.
Chris Tucker didn't want to be the poster child for smoking weed. He don't smoke weed like that.
Right.
He in the church. He Michael Jackson's best friend. Christmas. Michael Jackson called him Christmas. You ever met a man that gave you a little nickname like that?
No.
Me neither. Must be the greatest. Chris Tucker.
Okay. That's also problematic, okay? But also funny. I'm sorry. Look. What can I say? I'm not perfect. I think there's just something in there about the comedic timing of him saying that, right? Obviously, homophobia, okay? It's just the timing of him saying that thing and then the way that he said it and then must be the like it's not right. It's not right. I'm saying that. It's not. Okay. Let's go to some more problematic stuff. Here is Katt talking about P. Diddy.
They offered him $50 million and he turned it down. Who gonna turn down $50 million? Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
Can I need another one? You here, get your number.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Come on.
Because early on you was accusing me of being...
Katt, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, but you know, some of these people...
Martin tried to put me in my first dress. When he had to go on his hiatus, he tell me, Katt, when I come back, I need you. You my young partner. You my brother in comedy. When I come back, just promise me that my next movie, it'll be me and you. We gonna do it together. We gonna do some buddy cop shit. I said, Martin, you got my motherfucking word, my nigga. Go.
Okay. So there's levels to this, right? There's levels because clearly I've really been trying to really, you know, parse through the Katt Williams obsession with not being in a dress, not sucking any dicks. We get it. We get it. You don't want to suck any dick. I support that. I know straight women who don't want to suck any dicks, okay? I get it. Not me though. And not wanting to participate in anal sex, okay? There's something overtly homophobic about that. But as I I like to talk things out with people, particularly people who are in the entertainment industry or aspire to be in it. Katt did not express this in an appropriate way, in a way that I can really get behind, because the homophobia is just oozing. It's just oozing, That fragile masculinity that he's trying to critique is also just, you cannot keep it under wraps. But there's also something really real about a culture of sexual coercion in the entertainment industry that maybe those of us who are not in the entertainment industry just are not super familiar with. And so when I am trying to get a better grasp of why is Katt Williams talking about not sucking dick 10 times in this interview, and you talk to people who have some kind of experience, went to LA, are in LA, went to New York, are in New York, it is not just for women that there is a culture of sexual harassment and coercion. And most recently, we saw that with Christian Keys, who came out on Instagram and alluded to a really famous man who has a lot of money and power in Hollywood coming onto him in a way that made him uncomfortable. It appears that that kind of stuff is very common, very rampant, super widespread, and there's just not space or desire for men to talk about it. And when men discuss it, it becomes a Terry Crews situation where they try to talk about a culture of sexual harassment and coercion that is not gender specific, but then they get basically, ridiculed, tarred, feathered, demonized. It's, men seeking to emasculate other men because they are victims. And this is one of those conversations that maybe Katt does not have the tools, to really dive into in a really thoughtful, really meaty way. But in addition to, I don't want dicks in my mouth, there's something else there. And in light of the Cassie situation with Diddy, it feels, even though you gotta tell him no. I'm sorry, that's funny. I'm sorry. It is. You gotta tell him no, right? Certainly, I would not. And, after that Cassie situation, after they settled, then I think there was a completely fake story about Diddy and, TD Jakes, fake, people just saying whatever. But I would not be surprised at all whatsoever if there were, if you spent any time reviewing Cassie's complaint against Diddy, I would not be at all surprised if that happened to all kinds of people of all genders. And, is there going to be a reckoning of that kind of stuff with men, especially black men in Hollywood? Probably not. Probably not. But in his own just, ridiculous way, Katt brushed up against that. The men of B2K tried to tell us as well. Right. So exactly. I remember Raz B getting ridiculed for trying to talk about what he experienced as a child. And by the way, y'all still owe Raz B an apology. Who else has come out and talked about that? There was somebody else on my mind. I'm sure y'all have said it in the chat, but dang it was on the tip of my tongue. That's why I have to have my freaking notes. I forgot. But there's been other people who have said, I've experienced this, and they just aren't taken seriously. Katt specifically named Harvey Weinstein too. There's definitely something there. Katt is not going to champion of saying things with class, but the essence of the message is there. And we have a problem with sexual exploitation in this industry. Yeah. Terry Crews was even more bashed because he is dark-skinned and big and muscular, right? And it's like, I'm always talking about the nuances and complexities of power relations. Shout out to intersectionality, because if we don't understand how power relations and our access to power, or our ability to be exploited and be vulnerable, is so based on where we are located at any particular time, then you immediately go to, well, why didn't this big, strong, former professional athlete knock the shit out of this slight, gay white man? Like, why did he not do that? And it's because, well, power is more complex than that, you know? At that time, that what that man might have lacked in stature, he more than made up with in actual material advantage, absolute power, the ability to dictate whether or not you work again. All of our situations, you know, all of our exploitation, all of our oppression cannot be fixed with might. All of our exploitation cannot be fixed with physical violence. Somebody tell men that. like it seems like the men are having a hard time with this, but you're not going to be able to fight your way out of vulnerability, systemic exploitation, marginality. You're not going to be able to do it. I don't know what to tell y'all. You're not going to be able to pay your way out of it. I don't know what to tell y'all. Read some fucking Black feminist literature, okay? That's all I'm. Hey. Okay. A lot of them are coping in the public or through the public, even because of how much power we have. Yeah. Oh, I remembered now. Okay. Yes. Dwight Howard. This is what I wanted to talk about. The homophobia stuff. And the reason why homophobia is such a scourge and so dangerous. So a couple of months ago, these accusations came out about Dwight Howard being violent, right? Coercing a gay man into having sex, sexual assault, essentially. And it was so telling that, I'm sorry, I just am a loud talker. I'm going to just talk like a normal person. It was so telling to me that the conversations about Dwight Howard were, is he gay? Is he gay? I thought he was with Royce. I thought he did this. I thought he did that. I thought he has kids. Is he gay? Rather than, is this man a rapist? Like, it's crazy to me that in 2024, people are still so shocked and fixated on sexuality that if you read the actual story about what that man says Dwight Howard did to him, it's crazy. It's disgusting. But instead of being like, this is fucking horrible, get this man the fuck out of here, we have to have conversations about whether or not he's gay and whether or not he wants to wear women's clothes. Grow up. Okay. I think part of why people believed Cassie was because for years people have been saying Diddy coerces men. I think that a part of the reason why people believe Cassie is because of how she shows up in the world. Because all kinds of people have come out with stories about Diddy. Like, all kinds of people have been talking about Diddy and his professional practices and what he does in private. I think the how well constructed, and detailed Cassie's complaint was, in addition to her keeping a relatively low profile at this point in her life, in addition to people just find it easier to sympathize with people who look like Cassie. Okay, what do we have here? What else do we have? Okay, Christmas. Oh, Katt Williams does not do drugs. So I have been, and I'm going to be honest with you, I was a part of the people who did believe Katt Williams was on that stuff. I'll be honest. He just gave me what we would colloquially term as crackhead energy. I'm going to be honest. Katt Williams has said that he is not now and has never been on that stuff.
Thing that all of these homeless people had in common was they made a bad decision and aligned themselves with drugs. And I interviewed them all. What drug? What? And guess what, Shannon? What? Nobody had a great story. Nobody had a great story of what meth had done for them, what crack had done for them, what cocaine had done for them, what heroin had done for them, what speed had done for them. Nobody had them stories. Everybody's story was, I had my life together, and then I decided to do this dumb thing. And I lost my wife, I lost my house, I lost my cars, I lost my reputation, and I'm now out here sucking penis in the woods. What? Talk about scared straight. You ain't got to worry about me. The only thing...
Is the way he said, and now they're out there sucking penis in the woods. Katt, what? Why did you say it like that? Why did you say it like that? So he says that people have been lying on him all these years. He does not do drugs. He only smokes weed. Weed can trigger psychotic and manic symptoms, so that is probably true. He only did Mary Jane. And this is a good point. People act like weed is universally harmless. False. False as hell. Especially, oh my gosh, I was just reading an article about this because my nieces are preteens now, about how dangerous it is for young adults, like adolescents, to be smoking weed. Do not let your fucking adolescent children smoke weed. Okay, so that was that. What do we think? Ooh, this is a good one. I liked Katt talking about the need for evolution in comedy.
Or tell those jokes in 2024 that they told in the 70s and the 80s.
So they wouldn't have told them.
But that's my point.
They're not inferior people.
No.
If they were in this time, they would be going according to our time. Just like then, we were going according to that. Like, that's how it is in the world. There are words that we can use for a while. And when we use them for a while until somebody says that ain't a good word, we should stop saying that.
Correct.
That don't make people feel good. And we stop saying the word. And we move on to another word. You can't say the R word. You can certainly say special needs.
Yeah.
You can certainly say spectrum.
Be slow.
There are things that you can say to get your point that don't have to hurt people.
Right.
But you would know that if what you did was construct the English language for a living, then you would understand that part.
Tell those jokes in 2024 that they told in the 70s and the 80s.
And now let's go here.
That comedians on your show say that women sometimes would bring them money and not say where it came from.
Say that again?
Comedians would say women would bring them money and not say where it came from.
Right. So I'm not a feminist like a feminist would be, but I do believe that that in my camp, like if I had 35 people in my camp, right? I believe that other than 4 jobs, I believe that a woman is better at any of them jobs than any man could be.
Okay.
So 10 of these jobs, no man can work because I'd rather a female be there. If I gotta smell anybody's breath, I want it to be hers. I don't want none of you crusty. So what I'm saying is, if in a staffing issue, I'm gonna have 75% women just because I prefer them.
Right.
I don't prefer to hear 2 guys talking in the corner. I prefer to hear 2 ladies talking in the corner. I don't care what they're talking about. I just prefer that. So a lot of times I will utilize ladies to convey a message. If a comedian is doing a great job somewhere in the country, he just did a masterful set and nobody's gonna pay him. They just clapping. And I know he's broke as shit back there. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody just showed up and gave him a little blessing? And he didn't have to suck me off for it. And thanks, Katt. And boy, I really needed it. Why would you do that? If you was actually just trying to help people, you would. People know that's how I pay my tithes. If I got paid $100,000 to be at your city, I'm gonna take 10,000 of that and put it in your homeless area. Not because I got to. Because you gave me 100 racks to come to your little rinky-dink town. Who would I be to not pay my tithes back to your town? That's how I got in this position. Wow.
Okay, I wanted to play those clips back to back because there's some really good, interesting tension there. People are complex. I, of course, agree. And most of us, I'm sure if you are here, we're probably pretty aligned ideologically in that a responsible comedian, cultural critic, commentator, public person has to do the work of understanding the culture that they are performing in, commentating in, making content in, and culture changes, culture evolves. And I love the idea of if you are a lover of words, if you are a master of rhetoric, if you are as astute an observer of culture as you think, then you should be able to adapt to cultural shifts and new cultural norms. Like, that's the bare minimum expectation. Like, that's the least you can do. Okay? That's your fucking job. Now, that is a pretty insightful and progressive statement. Okay? And then we go to the second clip, which contains progress and regressive ideologies, both in the same 2 minutes, right? That's interesting to me. People are layered, it's nuanced, it's kind of mind-boggling, because how can all of this stuff exist in the same person? It seems pretty easily. Katt is trying to convey a message about how much he respects and appreciates women by reinforcing and reiterating misogynistic stereotypes about women, which it's like, feels like, okay, yeah, it's nice to hear somebody say that they prefer to work with women and that they love and appreciate the company of women and that they value women, but you value women because of kind of gross ideas about who women are and how we function. Okay. And then we get to, but as a super successful person, it is my responsibility to pay it forward. As somebody who, he said he was one of the richest people in the world, Katt Williams said he's Mansa Musa. Okay? So as somebody who has been able to amass all of this wealth and who is no longer religious, it is not only a privilege to be able to bless, as he says, up and coming comedians. It's not just a privilege to give to local homeless shelters, but he has to do it. It is a moral imperative. That is a progressive idea. It is an ethic that we don't often see super, super rich, highly visible people say explicitly. This idea of tithing being what you offer to the community that you are able to benefit from. And that it shouldn't be an option. It should just be the expectation, what you do. We get all of that stuff that I think is like, yes, exactly, right on, yes. And then it's like surrounded by stuff where I'm like, ew, yikes, what? Huh? That don't make sense, right? And I think that is also what makes that almost 3-hour-long interview so compelling, because you can't just passively watch it. You got to be listening to the truth. You got to be listening to the lies. You got to be listening to these really thoughtful, insightful, progressive ideas. And then you have to be kind of reviled and repulsed by stuff that's like, this is not, what's that Oprah mean? Right? And like, you really have to trudge through it. And this really aligns with things that I have been saying a lot recently and for months, maybe years, about what it takes to be a good, astute, thoughtful consumer of media in 2024. And do I think that most people have those skills? We are never going to be able to prevent people from saying misogynistic shit, saying homophobic shit, saying things that are problematic, saying ideas that are kind of right, but like not exactly right, like in a really unnuanced way. Like people are gonna people. But do we as consumers of media have the skills to take in the information, listen closely, and parse out really carefully? This makes sense. This does not make sense. Oh, that sounds like a lie. Oh, this was funny, but here's why it was problematic. Okay, was that misogyny? Oh, yeah, it was misogyny. Do y'all have the skills to do that? Are y'all learning the skills to do that? I assume if you're here, you do have the skills to do that. But I do get worried that most people don't. I do get worried that when we are taking in so much information, so much content, 3 hours is a long time, that people are not interested in doing the work of critical analysis, thoughtful discussion, and dissection. Because, like, in my reading today, I was reading Bourdieu, right? The cultural theorist, and about how, culture requires both parties, right? It requires kind of it's dialectic, okay? So like Katt Williams is like the creator, right? He's like the creator of culture, and he's doing all of these speech acts and he's saying these things, okay? But it is also our responsibility as the audience, as consumers, as citizens, as people in the world to like go back and forth, It's not one way. It has to be bi-directional. And I'm just not sure if I've seen enough people engage in a real deep critical dialogue about not just like the funny stuff, but like what does he mean by that? And that's why I'm here. I do not think most people have that ability because we are all faulted, and social media clips do not require people to think. Yeah. I do think that a culture of digesting media in 90 seconds, or if it's a Twitter clip, 2 minutes and 20 seconds, does not help people get better understanding of the world. Oh my gosh. Speaking of this is just a random thing that I've been thinking about, or something that just recently happened. Okay. So there is this, actually, can I pull up my Twitter? Let me try to pull up my Twitter. I'm not logged in over here on this laptop. So, okay. What the heck? Why? Whoa. Why is my Twitter account not showing? Wait. Why is my Twitter account not showing my recent? That's so weird. Wait a second. What's going on? Weird. Why, when I log on to my Twitter, the front page of my Twitter when I'm not logged in are old tweets? What the freak is X doing? Why are the top tweets that X is showing when I'm looking at my Twitter page, not logged in, a tweet from November of 2023? What the fuck does Elon Musk have going on over there? Anyways, I'm like, that's why I look so confused. I'm like, that is not what I just tweeted. What the fuck do y'all got going on over there? Okay. So, sorry, I just was like so perplexed. Like, I'm like gaslighting myself. Like, I know I tweeted something. Okay, so let's use this as an example. Okay, so this is this.
I know a renaissance is coming. I know a renaissance is coming.
Oh,
I know a renaissance is.
Okay, shout out to Lady Gaga. Okay. I thought it was a longer clip, but anyways, that's Gaga saying something about Chromatica at the peak of the pandemic, okay? And this is why it's really hard to be on the internet with people who are like 13, because the Beyonce Stan accounts say, "Oh my God, Lady Gaga and Beyonce have to be BFFs. How did Lady Gaga know that Beyonce was going to release Renaissance?" And I'm like, oh, is this satire? Are y'all being satirical in this post? And then you look at the quote tweets and it's like, no, they're not being satirical. Okay. You have to look. I took AP European history when I was in 10th grade. So you would come to the conclusion that that is Gaga giving us a little preview. That is her foreshadowing Beyonce's, best album ever created, Renaissance. But actually, no, that's Gaga being a smart, thoughtful person who understands world history and connecting the COVID-19 pandemic to the bubonic plague that killed, what was it, like a third to one half of Europe in the 1400s, which led to the European Renaissance. But if you're not doing the reading, if we don't have great school systems, if we don't have good schooling, if we don't have a culture of dialectical engagement with popular culture and being able to connect that to contemporary culture and history, then we get thousands of people retweeting the idea that Beyonce dialed up Gaga in 2020 and said, "I'm working on this album called Renaissance," but you don't know that's probably not the truth. It's because we're experiencing a plague. And plagues generally lead to artistic thriving, an explosion of commerce and an explosion of artistry. But like, we're at a point where we can't even have that conversation, where somebody was like, "You're fucking weird. You're a fucking hater." I'm like, this is history. It's very like, so I guess a part of the skills necessary to have these kind of robust dialogues about how artists engage the public is, do we even have a good enough foundation to start the conversation? And maybe that is the role in 2024 of a public intellectual. Maybe that is the role of a good cultural commentary, a good cultural critic. Maybe that is the role of a good commentator to bridge that gap, but it's not looking great, you guys. I'll say that. It's not looking good. Oh, I know for sure that it's not just children behind those Stan accounts. I know for sure. Meanwhile, some of the Beyonce stage visuals use imagery from the Renaissance too. Of course it did, because Beyonce does the reading and she hires people who do the reading. And Gaga does the reading and hires people who do the reading. So yeah, let's let's wrap this up at 2 hours. I was not expecting this to be 2 hours long. Ooh, wait, do I have anything else I want to talk about? Um, I mean, I do still have that clip. I mean, if we want to do a little throwback, I do have that clip of Katt Williams roasting that lady in Atlanta. It's kind of long though. No, it's gonna be too long. I need a term where people are ignorant or misinterpret historical references because people don't even know the origins of the media they consume. It's just memes or okay. And actually, here's really what I'm going to say about the last part of this, okay? Because I'm not sitting here saying that I'm so fucking smart because I have my degree and I know every fucking thing. I'm not. I commit myself to education every day because I don't know everything. And I have to be willing to be exposed and learn. And here's an example. The first few times when I saw people who support Palestine using the watermelon, but it was completely decontextualized, I would just see people putting these watermelons up and I would be like, what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck are y'all doing? As a Black American person, a descendant of enslaved people in North America, okay? I'm like, what the fuck are y'all doing with those fucking watermelons? But then I educated myself. Oh, okay. The watermelon became a symbol of Palestinian resistance in the mid 20th century. And this is what it represents. And this is why they took it on. And, here is some literature. And here, it is completely disconnected from the history of Black people in the United States. It is actually not at all connected to stereotypical racist representations of Black people. So there's actually no need for me to take it personally. Oh, great. This ain't got shit to do with me. I could have easily been like, well, I don't care if they came up with this in the 60s. This is what it means to me right now in this moment. And this is my history. And y'all should always take into account my history and center it. And it's like, bitch, there's a genocide happening. Unofficial genocide or whatever. Another thing that I see happens is people provide more context. People provide the history. They provide the links. They provide the books. And instead of after being corrected, somebody saying, oh, I got it wrong. Oh, you're right. My bad. People just double down, triple down. Well, I don't care about that. This is my first instinct and this is my first reaction and that is what I'm going to go with and I am not. And it's like, okay, well then we're fucked. We're fucked. Yeah. the Tyler colored conversation too. Well, this is my history, and if you come here, oh my God, Black America. Baby, I don't want to get on the wrong side of Black America tonight. I'm just saying, y'all, it's not always about us. It's also hard to teach teens how to engage deeply with topics, often needs to come from an internal locus of control for that genuine, profound exploration. It's the American in us to feel the need to center ourselves. Have you seen the article in Politico propping up Charlamagne as a political whisperer for Black people? I was appalled. I haven't. Okay, so for people, I'm gonna try to pull this up real fast, um, to see how new or old it is. But for people who are unfamiliar with the Tyla situation, Tyla is a young woman. She's 21 or 22. She is South African. She had actually a really good global hit with Water. And you know what? Someone said to me, "Man, I wish Water was a Victoria Monet song because we just really want Victoria Monet to have just like a huge international smash hit." But anyway, shout out to Victoria Monet. But it's been a huge hit for Tyla, and she's been traveling all over the world promoting it. And she's come to the United States, and people ask her about her racial and ethnic identity, and she has described it as colored, right? So people are like, "Oh, you're Black." And Tyla is like, "Well, I describe myself as colored because that is the ethnic group that she belongs to in the United States, and in South Africa, colored is the ethnic group that she belongs to in South Africa, and Black is a different thing in South Africa. And the actual Black people in South Africa would be like, get the fuck out of here if she referred to herself as Black." But of course, that means something different here. And that just sparked days and days and days of, I think, really not useful or productive conversations about race and ethnicity and globalism, arbitrary and geographically focused our constructions of race are. Okay. Trouble with the God. Oh, gosh. Okay, this is from January 2nd, 2024. I don't have time to get into that here, but I will read it. Thank you to whoever suggested that to me. It's time to wrap this up. This is my new uniform. My Are Y'all Okay sweatshirt. It is available at shopknf.com, as is all the Valentine's Day merch, including a physical and digital copy of I literally had this commissioned last year because I wanted one. The Black Girl Valentine's Day coloring book. Shout out to everybody who has picked up some merch. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all so much. Thanks for sticking it out for 2 hours. I'm not sure how long this is going to stay up in public, so enjoy it. If it's gone on the public timeline, it will be available behind the paywall. Oh, there's a lot of people here. I will see you next time.